99% of people don't know how chosen ones see the world differently. There is a reason why the chosen ones feel out of place in this world. It's not because they are broken. It's not because they are cursed. It's because they see reality through a lens that 99% of people do not even realize exists. If you are one of them, you already know this. You have felt it your entire life. You have walked through the same streets, sat in the same classrooms, worked the same jobs, and yet something inside you has always whispered that there is more to this life, more to this existence, more than the shallow distractions and artificial goals that consume the majority of people. And that whisper, that unshakable knowing, that is your proof. That is the evidence that you were never meant to see the world as others do. Most people operate on autopilot. They wake up, follow routines, chase validation, and live within a system that was designed to keep them asleep. They do not question why they do what they do. They do not ask if there is something beyond the physical, beyond the material, beyond the illusion of competition and scarcity. But chosen ones, they cannot help but question. They cannot help but feel the weight of something deeper, something undeniably real. While others see obstacles, they see lessons. While others see failure, they see redirection. While others fear the unknown, they feel drawn to it, as though some ancient part of them remembers that truth is never found in comfort, but in exploration.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
And this is where the disconnect happens. Because when you see the world differently, you start to feel like an outsider. You start to wonder why the things that excite others seem empty to you. You start to question why you feel everything so deeply when others seem indifferent. You begin to realize that the conversations that dominate society, money, power, status, trends, and the more you awaken, the more you notice how deeply asleep the world truly is. It's not arrogance, it's not superiority, it's simply reality. Because when you start to see beyond the illusion, you cannot unsee it. But here's the real challenge. Knowing this truth does not make life easier. In fact, it often makes it harder, because the moment you begin to wake up, the moment you start seeing things for what they are, you also begin to feel the weight of the world's blindness. You see the suffering that people create for themselves. You see the lies they tell themselves to avoid facing their own inner truths. You see the potential in them, the light that they refuse to acknowledge. And that is painful, because as much as you want to shake them awake, as much as you want to pull them out of the illusion, you realize that most people are not ready. Most people do not want to see. Most people would rather stay asleep, because waking up means taking responsibility, and responsibility is terrifying to those who have spent their entire lives blaming the world for their circumstances. So what do you do with this awareness? How do you navigate a world that does not understand you? The first step is acceptance. You must accept that you are different. You must accept that your path will never look like the paths of those around you. You must accept that loneliness is part of the journey, but that loneliness is not a punishment, it is a purification. It is the space where you strip away everything that is not truly you, and in that space, you will find something that most people never do: authenticity. Because here is the truth that no one talks about: most people are not living as themselves. They are living as the versions of themselves that society has programmed them to be. They wear masks. They say what they think will be accepted. They chase goals that were never truly theirs. And in doing so, They lose touch with their own souls. But chosen ones, they cannot live that way. Their souls will not allow it. The moment they try to conform, the moment they try to shrink themselves to fit in, something inside them rebels. Their energy dims, their spirit weakens, because they were not designed to blend in. They were designed to wake up. They were designed to remember. And this is where the true power of the chosen ones lies. Not in being better, not in being superior, but in being awake. Because when you are awake, you see the patterns that govern reality. You see the cycles that repeat endlessly for those who refuse to grow. You see how every experience, every challenge, every heartbreak is not random, but a part of a greater design meant to shape you into something stronger, something wiser, something unstoppable. And when you truly grasp this, when you stop seeing life as something happening to you and start recognizing it as something happening for you, everything changes. So let me ask you a question, the kind of question that only a chosen one can truly understand. If you stripped away everything society told you to be, everything your past conditioned you to believe, everything fear convinced you to settle for, who would you be? What would you see? And more importantly, what would you do with that vision? The hidden code of reality that only chosen ones can see. Once you begin to see the world differently, you realize that reality is not as rigid as most people believe. The majority live in a fixed mindset, trapped within the limitations of what they have been taught, what they have been told is possible. But chosen ones? They break through that illusion. They start to see patterns where others see chaos. They start to notice synchronicities, messages hidden in plain sight, signs that the universe is always speaking, but only a few are listening. It is as if reality itself is a living consciousness, responding to your awareness, mirroring back your energy, guiding you towards something greater. Most people assume life is a series of random events, that things just happen without meaning, but when you are awake, you know better. You know that every encounter, every challenge, every moment of suffering is part of a greater design. You start to see that nothing is truly random. There is a rhythm, a flow, an underlying intelligence that orchestrates everything. The problem is, most people are too distracted to notice it. They are too consumed by fear, by ego, by attachment to the material world. But the chosen ones? They step back, they observe, they listen, and in doing so they begin to decode the hidden language of the universe. This is why chosen ones often feel like they are living in a different dimension, even while existing in the same physical world as everyone else. Because once you start to see beyond the surface, you cannot go back. You start to feel time differently, as though past, present, and future are layered over each other, constantly influencing one another. You start to experience moments of deep intuition, where you just know something without knowing how you know it. You start to attract experiences that align perfectly with your inner growth, as if the universe itself is conspiring to push you toward your highest potential. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. This ability to see the hidden code of reality is not just about observation, it is about creation. Because when you truly understand how energy works, you realize that you are not just witnessing reality, you are shaping it. Thoughts are not just thoughts, they are frequencies. Emotions are not just emotions, they are vibrations. And the universe does not respond to what you say you want, it responds to what you are. This is why most people never manifest what they desire, because their energy contradicts their words. They speak of success, but vibrate in fear. They dream of love, but radiate insecurity. They crave abundance, but operate in scarcity. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, simply reflects back to them the energy they are projecting. But chosen ones? They understand the deeper truth. They know that reality bends to those who master their own energy. They know that manifestation is not about forcing things to happen, but about aligning with the frequency of what they seek. They know that the external world is nothing more than a reflection of the internal one, and that by changing themselves, they change everything around them. This is why chosen ones often seem to move through life differently, why opportunities seem to appear for them, why they always seem to be in the right place at the right time, why their presence alone can shift the energy of an entire room. It is not luck, it is not chance, it is mastery. But here's the challenge. When you start operating at this level, you will notice something: resistance. The world does not easily accept those who break free from its illusions. You will face doubt, not just from others, but from within yourself. You will feel the weight of the old programming trying to pull you back into limitation. You will see people around you reacting with discomfort, confusion, even hostility toward your transformation, not because they hate you, but because your very existence challenges the reality they have built for themselves, and that can be terrifying for those who are not ready to wake up. So what do? You stay the course. You keep growing. You keep mastering your energy, refining your awareness, deepening your connection to the unseen forces guiding you. Because the more you evolve, the more you realize that your journey is not just for you, it is for those who will one day look to you for guidance. It is for the ones who feel lost, who are searching for something more but do not yet have the words to describe what they feel. You are not just waking up for yourself, you are becoming a beacon for others who are ready to see. And so I ask you, if you truly understood that reality is not something happening to you, but something responding to you, how would you live? What choices would you make? What energy would you embody? And most importantly, what reality would you create? Why chosen ones experience reality like a living dream? Once you truly awaken, you begin to realize that reality itself is not as solid as it seems. It moves, it shifts, it responds to energy in ways that most people will never notice, let alone understand. It is like a lucid dream, one in which the dreamer is slowly waking up to the fact that they are the creator, not just a passive observer. Chosen ones walk through life with this awareness, and because of that, they experience existence differently from the 99% who are still trapped in the illusion of separation, limitation, and randomness. They begin to see that everything, every moment, every encounter, every so-called coincidence is part of a greater design, a design that is not fixed, but fluid, adaptable, and deeply personal. This is why, for the chosen ones, life often feels surreal. Time does not behave the way it does for others. Days stretch and contract in strange ways. Synchronicities appear so frequently that they stop feeling like coincidences and start feeling like direct messages. The world itself starts to feel animated, alive, as if it is not just a place, but a presence, a vast intelligence communicating through symbols, emotions, and experiences. Most people dismiss these things. They say, it's just your imagination. But the chosen ones know better. They know that imagination is not a weakness. It is the interface between the physical and the unseen. It is the bridge between thought and manifestation, between possibility and reality. And yet, this awareness does not come without its challenges, because when you start to see life as a living dream, when you start to understand that your thoughts, emotions, and energy shape reality, you also begin to realize the weight of responsibility that comes with it. Most people are not ready for this level of awareness. They want to believe that life is happening to them, not through them. They want to blame circumstances, other people, external forces, anything but themselves. But the chosen ones do not have that luxury. Once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. You realize that every thought has power, every emotion is a signal, every belief is either a key or a chain. And that means you can no longer afford to think like the masses, to dwell in negativity, to entertain self-doubt as if it is harmless, because it is not. It is creating, it is shaping, it is forming the very reality you are living in. This is why emotional mastery becomes essential. Chosen ones do not just react to life, they respond with awareness. They understand that their inner state is their true point of power. If they allow fear, anger, or sadness to consume them, they are not just feeling those emotions, they are feeding them, amplifying them, sending them out into the field of reality, where they will return in the form of experiences that match that frequency. This is why many chosen ones go through a phase of deep isolation, not because they want to withdraw from the world, but because they need to recalibrate. They need to unlearn the reactive patterns that were programmed into them since birth. They need to detach from the distractions, the noise, the collective fear, so that they can reprogram themselves into a state of alignment. And once that alignment happens, something incredible takes place. Reality begins to move in ways that defy logic. Doors open without force. The right people appear at the right moment. Obstacles dissolve before they fully manifest. It is not luck. It is not magic. It is simply the chosen ones learning to operate by the real laws of existence. Laws that were always there, but hidden beneath the illusions of struggle, effort, and scarcity. They begin to live in flow, in trust, in deep connection with the unseen forces that guide all things. And when this shift happens, they stop chasing, they stop forcing, they stop trying to control life, and instead they start allowing life to unfold in its highest form. But here is the paradox. When you reach this level of awareness, you become almost invisible to those who are still trapped in the old paradigm. They cannot perceive you clearly because you are no longer operating on the same frequency. They see you, but they do not truly see you. They hear your words, but they do not truly understand them. It is like trying to describe color to someone who has only ever seen in black and white. They may think they understand, but until they experience the shift themselves, they cannot fully grasp it. This is why chosen ones often feel misunderstood, why they struggle to explain their reality to those who have not yet awakened. Because how do you explain a dream to someone who has never slept? And so the question arises, what do you do with this awareness? How do you move through a world where most people are still asleep, still unaware that they are dreaming? The answer is simple yet profound. You become the embodiment of the truth you have discovered. You do not argue, you do not force others to see, you simply live in a way that is so aligned, so elevated, so unmistakably free, that your very presence becomes a catalyst for awakening. You walk with certainty, with peace, with an energy that speaks louder than words. And in doing so, you become the bridge, the link between the seen and the unseen, between the sleeping and the awakened. So now I ask you, If you truly understood that this life is a dream you are shaping in every moment, how would you choose to dream it? Would you continue to react to the illusions, the fears, the limitations? Or would you step fully into your power, consciously creating, fearlessly believing, and unapologetically becoming everything you were meant to be? The final shift, how chosen ones transcend the illusion and step into their true power. There comes a point in the chosen one's journey where everything changes. It is not marked by a grand external event, nor is it something that can be measured in worldly terms. It is an internal shift, a moment where the veil of illusion becomes so thin that it can no longer hold its power over them. This is the final awakening, the point of no return, where the chosen one no longer just knows the truth, but becomes it. And once this happens, they no longer see reality as something to be feared, something to be controlled, or something to escape. They see it for what it truly is, a playground for consciousness, a canvas upon which they are free to create. But here's the paradox. The moment you realize that reality is yours to shape, you also realize that you no longer need to chase anything. The desire to prove yourself, to accumulate, to dominate, to be validated, these things dissolve. Because you understand at the deepest level that you were never lacking. That every struggle, every hardship, every so-called failure was never about loss, but about refinement. You see that the things you once thought were obstacles were actually stepping stones, perfectly placed to guide you to this exact moment. And with that realization, resistance disappears. You are no longer fighting against life because you are no longer separate from it. You and life become one and the same, flowing, evolving, expanding with effortless precision. Most people spend their entire lives reacting. They react to circumstances, to opinions, to external forces that they believe are beyond their control. But chosen ones who have reached this final shift, they do not react, they respond. They understand that energy is currency and they no longer waste it on things that do not serve their highest evolution. They do not engage in meaningless conflict. They do not lower their frequency to match the vibrations of those who are still trapped in fear and limitation. They do not seek validation from a world that does not even understand itself. Instead, they move with an unshakable confidence, not because they believe they are better, but because they have remembered who they truly are. And this remembrance changes everything. It changes the way they speak, the way they walk, the way they interact with the world. They no longer seek opportunities, they attract them. They no longer chase love, they embody it. They no longer fear loss because they understand that nothing real can ever be taken from them. This is why chosen ones who reach this level seem almost untouchable. It is not that they do not face challenges, it is that challenges no longer define them. They have transcended the victim mindset. They have risen beyond the illusion of struggle. They have stepped into a space where life itself bends to meet them, not because they force it, but because they have become a vibrational match for the reality they desire. But here's the truth that most will never understand. True power is not loud. It is not boastful. It does not seek attention. The most powerful beings in this world are not the ones screaming for recognition. They are the ones who do not need it. They are the ones who walk into a room and shift the energy without saying a word. They are the ones whose presence alone inspires transformation, not because they demand it, but because they are it. This is the final transformation of the chosen one, not to be seen, not to be admired, but to become the embodiment of everything they once sought. And yet, this stage of awakening comes with a unique challenge, because once you reach this level, you realize that you cannot take everyone with you. There will be people in your life who are not ready to see what you see, who are not willing to step beyond their own limitations, who are so deeply attached to their pain that they will reject anything that threatens to free them from it. And this is where many chosen ones struggle, because they want to help, they want to guide, they want to wake others up. But here is the hard truth. You cannot wake someone who is committed to sleeping. You cannot force someone to see what they are not ready to acknowledge. And you must accept that part of your journey will be letting go. Not out of anger, not out of judgment, but out of love. Because true love does not cling. True love allows. So what does life look like for the chosen ones who have fully stepped into this final transformation? It looks like peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from external comfort, but the kind of peace that is unshaken by circumstances. It looks like clarity, a deep knowing that no matter what happens, all is unfolding exactly as it should. It looks like freedom, the kind of freedom that cannot be given or taken away because it exists within, beyond the reach of any system, any rule, any limitation. And so the question is no longer, how do I find my purpose, or how do I manifest the life I want? Because those are the questions of someone who still believes they are separate from what they seek. The only question that remains is this: now that you know who you are, what will you do with that knowing? Will you shrink back into old patterns, pretending to be less than what you are? Or will you fully embrace your power, your truth, your infinite potential, and create the reality you were always meant to live? Because the time for searching is over, the time for doubting is gone, the chosen ones are rising. The question is, will you rise with them?